I'm Jared Fry, General Manager of Medina TV.
Hi, and I'm Jacqueline Rinksmeyer, Executive Director of the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. The mission of the Chamber of Commerce is to serve our member investors and promote business interests through economic development, business advocacy, and member services, which benefits the Greater Medina community. The Chamber is funded by voluntary membership from the business community. It is a not-for-profit, nonpartisan business organization, and we do not receive tax dollars to operate the organization. The Chamber does not endorse candidates, but strives to educate the voters on both the candidates and the issues. And we are pleased to partner with Medina TV to bring these interviews to you. This program would not be possible without this collaboration. So thank you to our interviewer, Jared Fry, and our producer, Matt Tomick.
And as always, the views expressed in these interviews do not necessarily reflect those of Medina TV or the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. We thank you for tuning in to the 2022 Candidates Forum and remind you to vote on November 8th. Joining us now in studio is Julie Schaefer, the incumbent judge for domestic relations. And welcome. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you. And again, incumbent, I was appointed by the governor in July. I took office August 1st. And again, to fill the remaining 2 years term of Judge Kovac's original term. So I'm on the ballot in November to keep the remaining 2 years of this term.
So it'll be to continue the 2 years and then run again in 2 years for the what is usually a 6-year term.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to clarify that for the viewers at home as we move forward. And it's great to see you take part of the process and now running for election again. So it's great to see you being part of the political process. For the viewers at home and the residents, why don't you just take a second and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Well, I graduated from Medina High School in 1975. My brothers and sisters went here as well. I was on the 4-H Junior Fair Board. I still have my bunny trophy. I was pretty involved in the community at the time. I went on to college and eventually ended up at the University of Akron, where I got a law degree. When I was 44 years old, I graduated from the University of Akron. You don't have to know when you're 18 what you're going to do with the rest of your life, because things change and evolve over time. So I went back to school, and my daughter was in high school. And my daughter, Morgan, she's now an assistant United States attorney in Wheeling, West Virginia. So I went back to school when she was in school. And so I've been practicing since 2002. And practiced domestic relations law for 12 years before I was elected to the Akron Municipal Court bench. So I sat as a municipal court judge for a year. And then the following year, I was elected to the 9th District Court of Appeals, which covered Medina, Wayne, Summit, and Lorain counties. So I have been judge for 7 years there, and now currently, having been appointed, I've obviously been a judge here too. So I have judicial experience and experience also in domestic relations law.
And you kind of just touched on that with your background, but kind of get a little more in depth for us. What kind of skills or leadership or expertise do you feel you bring to the domestic relations judge position? Well,
I also was on the Copley Fairland School Board for 14 years, so I have experience with leading a large organization. There's a few hundred employees there, and we also, as school board members, you oversee the budget. So I have administrative skills as well, because it's not just a judge job here, because it's a single court judge. You're also a business person. You have to run a business and manage a $1.3 million business budget. So it's managing the facility, managing the personnel, making sure the staff is right, and this court has some significant challenges coming up to it in the next year or two. So it's important to have a person with leadership. As I said, I've been on the courts before. I have judicial experience. I think my record is clear, this is my 9th election actually, having been an elected official for nearly 20 years. It's pretty clear that I am fair, I am impartial, I take information in and I process it, and I do what's best for the community, and I follow the rules. So I think my leadership skills over the years have been demonstrated and are verifiable. So I bring that strength to the bench.
Mm-hmm. Now you touch on there's obstacles that face the court in the coming years, and that led me perfectly into the next question here. What are some of the obstacles that you see with the judicial system in domestic relations, and maybe even the judicial system as a whole?
Well, in particular, the court, that Medina County Domestic Relations Court. As you know, the new courthouse is going to be finished in December, under budget and on time. And once the existing common police courts move out, probate and the 2 general divisions move into the new building, the domestic relations court has to move into the old building, the 1963 building, 68 building. and sit there while they renovate the 1800s building, because domestic's moving back into the existing location, but we'll have 2 floors instead of 1 floor. So that initial move has to take place in December, and then we'll be moving back again toward the end of next summer. Once the building is renovated, we'll be moving back in. So that's one challenge. Actually, that's 2 challenges that are coming up. And I have moved building. When I was on the 9th District Court of Appeals, I was the presiding judge the year that we moved the 9th District out of the Ocasek building, having been there for 20 some odd years, over to Main Place. So I was presiding judge that year. I have experience moving a court. I've done that before, and I can do it twice in the next coming year with this court as well. The other challenge that we have is you may be familiar with the Tyler Odyssey court software system. Clerk of Courts is switching everything over to this new Tyler Odyssey system. Not only is the Clerk of Courts going to be using it, but it also has a case management software aspect to it too, that you can manage your internal documents and the documents that you produce as a magistrate, whatever, and a judge to put on the record, just managing your case, scheduling, and those sorts of things. Domestic Relations Court was not going to be involved in that. It was going to continue to be status quo. But as it is, the software that Domestic Relations Court uses is out of date and not supported, and so it's time to move to something. And as the county's already paid for it, and I have experience with that. When I left the 9th District Court of Appeals, I worked as a trial magistrate in Summit County Domestic Relations Court. So for the last year and a half, I've been a trial magistrate over there, hearing trials and having hearings and meeting with counsel and doing the things you need to do that I do every day here, I'm doing there. But the experience that I learned there with the online case management system that Summit County has, it's not all that unsimilar to what is going on with this Tyler system. It's like going from Apple to Android. It's all there, you just have to find it. So that has to be done too. And Tyler's supposed to go live on February 27th. So not only does the court have to move, but it also has to be ready to go on February 27th. And if we're not, and it pushes off until July, I was told that's an additional $5 million to do it in July. So we're going to stay on task and get this done by February 27th and be ready to go. There are days when I can get 2 different schedules for my daily schedule from 2 different software programs that don't have the same information. It has to all be in one place and be right. And coordinating that with the clerk's office, with the new case management system that the county's already paid for, makes perfect sense to me. So my goal is to be up and running with the Tyler system at the end of February.
Yeah. A very busy time for you guys.
There's a lot of things that need to go on, and I think because of that, it's important to have someone with experience doing that. So that's why I sought this in the first place, and why it's important to keep me there.
Mm-hmm. And currently, as you're serving as a domestic relations judge and looking to be reelected in this election, what would you like to see? I know you mentioned all these things you're going to be busy that you have to get done, but what would you like to see accomplished in domestic relations from your own personal side? What would you like to try to accomplish there?
There's a number of specialized dockets that other counties have. Medina County doesn't have any of that stuff. There's been somewhat of a lack of leadership and some neglect that has gone on with this court for many years, and even just cleaning up the court to be able to move. We've had shred day. There's all kinds of things. We just to get rid of things that can be gotten rid of. Files that don't need to be there anymore. The House Rules of Superintendents give you a document destruction. It's like a spreadsheet that tells you what types of documents and when you can dispose of them. So we're going to be implementing that and purging things that are able to go. So attorneys are being contacted, parties are being contacted. Just getting the court ready to move is one project. As I said, other courts have specialized dockets. There's mental health dockets. There's an intensive parenting counsel type dockets. There's different types of things that we can do to serve the community better that haven't been done at all. So domestic violence, there's an integrated domestic violence program that we could put into place too. So once we get things situated and back in the end of next summer, that's the time to start thinking about putting something into place. So thinking about it in the meantime, but being ready to do something is something that I'm anticipating being able to do some specialized dockets that address the needs that we have.
Mm-hmm. So how does it's a very difficult position, I think, for a domestic relations judge, because unlike other courts where you're dealing just with a sentence or something that happened, there's a lot of a personal side to what happens in a domestic relationship.
Very much so.
So how do you handle that balance of following what the law tells you to do, plus your day-to-day operations, as you mentioned, and then also that personal side?
Well, certainly when I started practicing law, I wasn't focused on domestic. It just sort of migrated that way because I love having the opportunity to help people solve their problems. I've taken mediation training through the Supreme Court twice. I was an arbitrator for the Better Business Bureau. Solving problems is something that I've always loved to do. And so for me, it's a puzzle that just needs to be put together. And they're taken apart when they come to the court, and we're trying to put something back together, two puzzles. So it's a problem-solving thing that I've always appreciated being able to do. And I lost track of your question. What was the rest of it?
Just handling that balance between what you have to do, the letter of the law versus people's, probably in most cases, their worst day ever.
It's their worst day. Yeah, when they come to the court, they want to know that their issues are being heard. Mm-hmm. And I think for a lot of people, that's the most important thing is that I want my day in court. I want people to hear what I have to say. And when it's the worst time of your life, you want to be able to know that somebody's paying attention and that you're going to get a fair shake. And are you going to be completely happy? No. Are you going to be completely sad? No. But the goal is to try to make it fair and be it equitable. This is a court of equity. It's not like the other courts. Domestic relations court is a court of equity, which is you do the best you can and make sure that everybody's getting what they need. And that's basically what we're after in this court. Balancing those things is easy to do because I know when I'm on the bench and I know when I'm dealing with cases, that's one thing. But dealing with the budget, and there's a budget hearing coming up with the commissioners next month. I've already submitted the budget for next year last Friday, and I'm working on that too. There's a lot of different aspects to this, but being able to compartmentalize the things that need to be done is something that I've always been able to do. So I'm a multitasker, as most moms are, and I'm able to get what needs to be done when it needs to be done efficiently.
Again, we're speaking with Julie Schaefer, the current domestic relations judge, up for re-election here this November. And I want to thank you for being part of the political process and taking the time to answer my questions. But I want to make sure I give you the opportunity to speak directly to the voters and the viewers. Anything I may have missed or anything you'd like to touch on? So I will turn the mic over to you now.
Well, I think primarily it's, as I've already stated, there's a number of challenges that are facing this court in the next year or so, more than a year or so, a couple of years. And I think it's important that somebody with experience and who has the ability to juggle all those balls can do that. I'm that person. I'd appreciate your vote in November. I've been committed to the community for many years. As I said, I was on the school board, but I didn't mention that I've also been a foster parent for 15 years. I've fostered over 30 children. I've adopted 3. So aside from my daughter, who's an assistant United States attorney, I have a 15-year-old son and a 12-year-old son who attend Evolve Academy here in Medina, and I have a 9-year-old daughter who attends school in Wadsworth. So I'm committed to the community. I'm committed to helping each other, and I think a rising tide raises all boats, right? So my job has always been to be the rising tide to help that move and raise everybody up. So I love what I'm doing. I've loved what I've been doing for many years. I sort of fell into it because that's where my strengths are. And so I think that this is a good time for me to bring what I have and what I've learned over the last 20 years to a spot that it's like Esther 4:14. Perhaps this is the moment for which you were created, right? I mean, I have all the skills that I need to be able to elevate this court and raise it to a point where the people who are coming here in their worst time are able to feel as though they've been heard and that they've gotten a fair shake. So I think that I love what I do, and I'd appreciate the opportunity to continue to do it.
Great. Thank you again. That's Julie Schaefer, the current Medina Common Pleas or Domestic Relations Judge, up for re-election this November. And I want to wish you the best of luck this November at the polls.
Thank you. Appreciate it.